Hey now, good morning. I know you guys aren't expecting this on a Saturday. Welcome. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I've been in this game for years. Made me an animals, rules to the shit. Wrote me manual, step by step booklet. Jack, not your wig pushback. I'm sorry, let me calm down. Hey guys, we had to abandon the Friday night show because I had the dumbest headache on earth and was not able to compose myself in a way that I could fully present the stories that we have compiled for you. So I want to shout out to the good brother Will for being flexible for us to bang this Saturday morning show out. This is like Saturday morning cartoons, like when we was kids. Except ain't shit funny on the dock today, beloveds, unfortunately. And I appreciate everybody that sent well wishes for me and who may or may not show up this morning, but it's all to the good. But we're gonna get through this morning's show. Shout out to everyone that's watching, everyone that's gonna see this later. We appreciate it. Please engage with the content. Hit us with a like, hit us with a sub, hit us with some comments or some chatteroonies, whatever you would like. So we appreciate all that you do. So I want to go ahead. I hate to even put out in the ether that we may be on the precipice of potentially a World War III, but because I'm from this raggedy shithole of a country and I've seen how they engage militarily and foreign policy wise throughout my lifetime and way before. um, we could be on the precipice of World War III if Iran continues to assert their autonomy and their right to not be attacked and for their allies not to be attacked. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Normally do this every Tuesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So the state of Israel continues its march to absolutely fuck over the sovereignty of other nations with its invasion in Lebanon. This also coming after Israel has assassinated not only leaders of Hamas but Hezbollah within Iran's borders and also bombed shit in Syria and continues to bomb shit a lot of places for its neighbors, of course, including what's going on in Palestine and Gaza, with the ongoing genocide estimated to have killed nearly 50,000, likely many tens of thousands more than that. But I want us to take a look here because the invasion in the southern Lebanon is interesting because um one of the things that is not being reported on the mainstream media is the way that Israel is indeed being tagged, not only by Hezbollah, but also by the Houthis in Yemen. Y'all, they landed even before all this shit kicked off heavy with Lebanon. The Houthis had landed a hypersonic missile in Tel Aviv. show they. Lester Holt is not going to tell you that. And the Iranian strike that happened just now a couple of days ago actually impacted more military targets within Israel's borders than they are letting on. So there are some things I want us to check out here. So, but one of the fucked up things that Israel is doing, because as we have seen in Gaza now for this past year, they've been targeting civilian spaces, right? Hospitals, churches, schools, refugee camps, targeting humanitarian aid workers, targeting healthcare providers, doctors, nurses, ambulances, right? So Israel has been going after civilians. The Iranians and Hezbollah have been making their targets military, right? They're targeting air force bases and munitions depots, and they are being very strategic by doing that. But one of the things that Israel is doing in southern Lebanon is bombing some of the evacuation routes. And I want us to take a look at this clip. I believe this is going to be from Al Jazz. So let's go ahead and cue up the first joint because when Israel targeted the Hezbollah leader, Mr. Nasrallah, they got him in the apartment complexes. You feel me? Like it was like 6 high-rise apartments that they bombed, where people live. Fuck all that. Hezbollah got their headquarters in the basement. No, that does not justify the outright demolition with people inside. I think the number of Lebanese that have been murdered so far by Israeli forces, the last number I heard is about 1,500. That numbers could be different by now. But they went into a suburb, they went into a residential area and bombed and destroyed apartments. And they've been bombing the roadways, the exit ways for Lebanese to flee into Syria. So Israel is dirty out here, dog. Like y'all play the game exceedingly dirty and should be dealt with accordingly. But anyway, let's take a look at what the last several days in southern Lebanon have been like for the Lebanese people who are now enduring yet another invasion by the Israelis. Let's take a look at that.
51 towns and villages. 51 towns and villages are now under Israeli evacuation orders across southern Lebanon and on the border, that 120-kilometer border with Israel that in many parts is still contested. Now, people are complying with these orders out of fear and out of panic. There has been so much artillery shelling coming from Israel, so many airstrikes coming from Israel that a lot of people had already left. But on the kind of outskirts of the border, coming slightly northern to where I am, there are a lot of Sunni villages, Christian villages, Druze villages who felt that they were isolated and didn't really have to move. And soon as Israel announced its ground invasion, people started to leave en masse. Now, this is one of the roads just behind me over there that you can use to get out of southern Lebanon. Now, the Israelis have bombed that road 3 times. The first time they did it was overnight, and then in the morning, the Lebanese army engineers did makeshift repairs to allow people to get out. Then they bombed it again. The Lebanese army engineers repaired it, makeshift as well, but they repaired it again, and then it was bombed again by the Israelis. Now, one Lebanese army engineer was actually injured in that last attack. The Lebanese army are now no longer repairing that road. But as a lifeline out, and you're under Israeli evacuation orders, just think about this. Would you risk your life knowing that there's an Israeli airstrike that could come in at any moment? Or would you stay in your village knowing that there could be an Israeli airstrike either near you or in the neighboring village? This is now the choice that people have.
Can you guys even imagine? I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the folks who live outside of Beirut and who are faced down with this barrage of missiles, with this outright attack. And to be clear, you guys, I mean, Hezbollah is popular, amongst the folks. They appreciate it. It serves in almost a state capacity, even though they are not themselves the Lebanese army. But they provide not only the resistance, right, but they do other sort of state functions. They feed, they do all kinds of stuff, right? So the people there don't necessarily dislike what Hezbollah does, and especially in the context of them serving as protection against this hostile nation to the south. And on top of that, speaking of the hostilities of the nation to the south, what the Lebanese are saying is that their hospitals are being targeted. Hospitals! These are war crimes. Like these are crimes against humanity. And sadly, what the Israelis did and are continuing to do in Gaza against the Palestinians, the Lebanese is like, the fuck? Why? What makes anybody think that they are not going to do the exact same thing to target soft spaces, civilian spaces in Lebanon, which is already happening? But can I tell you guys, can I share with you a bright spot, at least what I consider to be a bright spot? Because you guys know that we here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, we have been following the work of journalist and fighter Ali Mortada. And in the days immediately following the heinous terrorist pager attack waged by the Israelis against not only Hezbollah members, but regular Lebanese civilians and healthcare workers in particular, where the pagers exploded in people's hands, in people's pockets, in children's faces, and a grotesque show of force. It was terrible and itself should be considered a war crime and an act of terrorism, which I believe that it is. But Ali Mortada had not posted on TikTok for a while. He hadn't posted actually about 3 days before the pager attack. And because, I follow him for multiple reasons, right? I appreciate his work. And he happens to be fine. He happens to be fine as hell. Jesus. I said, you work, Mr. Mortada. But I was worried. Like, I'm like, yo, I hope he did not get got. And Will, if you could cue up the video for me, please, because the way that I gasped when I saw this across my timeline. Let's check it out.
Hello, my enemies. May you have a very, very bad day. 3 days now, and your army said that he's doing a ground operation in the Lebanese territory. Yesterday, they say that they entered and they filmed inside a tunnel of Hezbollah. This video is old, is from 2019, and it's not correct. If it is correct, we have the courage to say that it's correct. What happened today is very, very big. My enemies, your soldiers, has entered the Lebanese territory in front of Adaisi. It's a Lebanese village. And when they put one leg in the Lebanese territory, the fire came from the sky, from under the ground, from everywhere, right, left, up, down. You can imagine the scream of your soldiers in our Lebanese territory. We heard their scream. There are too many casualties, and the soldiers who was not hit, he carry his friend and go to the occupied Palestinian land and retreated. This is a small example of what will happen to your soldier when they enter the Lebanese territory. The fight is long, and we are just in the beginning. You can count your dead. 20 casualties now, 1 dead. They say 1 dead. I think it's more than 1 dead. And we say in Arabic, the rope will go on. Habl al jarrar. Take care, ya baby.
Ali Mortada's alive, everybody. Not only is he alive, he's alive and talking shit. He's alive and talking shit. I was so happy to see his face and, of course, to hear him talking shit. And again, I I I have no reason to disbelieve what this gentleman says in terms of what he has witnessed the forces do versus the IDF, right? And that's the thing for us here in the West. Oh, I don't know, but let me be more specific. Here in the goofy ass United States of America, our media is going to not only sanitize, like overly sanitize, like in a way that is so 1984 and dystopian, Orwellian, as the learned people say, right? Because we're not going to get any of the accurate information. The Israeli forces are getting battered up, okay? The Air Force isn't, not even the Air Force. Some of the reports that I've seen indicate that the Iranians, when they did the missile attack on Tel Aviv, took out half, I don't fucking know, but I've seen reports. I've seen reports that they took out half of the Israelis' F-35 fleet, right? But it's not none of this. Any of the gains made by Iran, Hezbollah, Yemen, and the Houthis is not going to get reported here, especially in America. They're never going to tell you that Israel's getting done up out there. And Will, cue up the video of the Iranian airstrike, because what I found really interesting, immediately after the missile strike on Tel Aviv, it was like, oh, well, they didn't hit no casualties. We cannot use the measure, or my point is they're trying to count lives lost, I suppose. Did how many people did Iran kill with these missiles? I don't think the point was to kill people. I think the point was to show that you can be touched right there, right where you stay at, right in the middle, not just in the north, not just here, but right there, Tel Aviv, you could be touched. And Iran was saying with their strategic targets, making their targets mostly military, right? Like, we are not you. We are not devils. We actually value human life, even the life of, Israelis. The Iranians showed consideration and showed that our beef is not with the people per se. Our beef is with you, Netanyahu, you and your government, you and your military, you and those that would stand with you, your allies. Anyway, let's take a look. I want to look at the melodies from heaven. Rain down on me. Woo! But this is rockets. I don't know if heaven would send rockets, but shit. Rockets was raining over Israel. Let's take a look at that, please, Will.
שומע? וואו, 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 וואו! הכל נופל לנבטים, אני אומר לך, מתקפה אחת החזקות. אימא'לה, זהו, למקלט.
Yeah. Let me tell y'all all the ways in which I am not prepared for any of that. Okay. Let us all behave ourselves, coming from the State Department, coming from the White House, coming from the campaign trail, because I assure you, I am not ready for any of that for fucking the in the Rockets red glare singing over Prince George's County, because we are in proximity to the nation's capital. Nope. Not me. Did you see how close some of them fucking missiles was? Shawty, we do not want war. I don't want war for any of the folks that are enduring war or are on the precipice of war. There is time for us to step away from this. But the problem is Netanyahu is on a kamikaze mission out here, and I guess he said, "Fuck it, if he going out in a hail of nuclear flame, then everybody should go out in a hail of nuclear flame." Before the assassination of the Hezbollah leader, Mr. Nasrallah, they was in the process of negotiating a ceasefire. They was in the process of negotiating a ceasefire. This is some reporting. If you could cue up that reporting for me, Will, from Public Integrity. It's a TikTok channel that I found that is hosted by this BBC, who used to be a BBC journalist. I think his name's Tim Eastman. I hope I got the right name. Y'all know it's early in the morning. And of course, I waked and baked. So, I'm doing my best here. Regardless, I looked the guy up. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Is this reputable? This sounds like very interesting reporting. Let me verify who the fuck this person is giving this shit. And maybe BBC reporter for many decades doesn't sound reputable to many, but given the what he reported, I'm like, all right, he's giving me credible here. So the ceasefire that the US and Hezbollah and Israel and other negotiators, other actors from the Middle East were privy to these negotiations. They went home thinking they was about to put in place a ceasefire, and the actual opposite happened. Why? Because Israel is a rogue state and does what the fuck it wants and doesn't adhere to agreements and doesn't adhere to international law and doesn't adhere to the Geneva Convention. It doesn't adhere to a lot of fucking shit. Israel just gets to do whatever the fuck it wants out here on the global stage, and it is abhorrent and disgusting. But just to give you a further example of how determined they are to go to war, check out this reporting from Public Integrity.
Hold on, that clip was best. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Well, you're going to see it. It's going to come on through. Do me a favor, guys. Thanks, y'all, so much for getting up with me on a Saturday morning. I will turn y'all loose before Saturdays with Renee coming up on Black Liberation Media at 11 a.m. If you are not already subscribed to Black Liberation Media, please go on over there. And nigga, you want to go say nothing, dog? You just go run it?
No, that's when you I just brought in another file.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what happened. We can do that. You ready?
Let
me know when you're ready.
I thank you so much. All right, you guys, back to the segment, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Again, the opportunity for a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah was on the fucking table. Everybody who's anybody thought the shit was in place, and then here come the fuck Israel, like, nope, out here choosing violence. Let's check out the reporting.
Details have emerged about peace efforts made by Hezbollah's Hassan Nasrallah before he was assassinated on September 27th. Arab sources now say a Hezbollah delegation met secretly with Israeli negotiators in Qatar and agreed a 21-day ceasefire called for by the US and many of its allies. One official told me that both sides in Doha were satisfied they had a deal, their bosses thought so too, and they returned to their respective capitals to finalize their acceptance. Nasrallah was killed soon after, apparently still believing the ceasefire would go ahead. In an interview on American television, Lebanon's Foreign Minister Abdallah Abu Habib said France and the US were kept informed of the deal. They told us, he added, that Netanyahu had agreed on this. These revelations are bound to fuel concerns that despite intense international pressure, Israel is still more interested in fighting its enemies than preparing for peace.
And that is such an excellent point. And I've seen this point raised time and time again from people that analyze and are experts of the region and, of course, of the regional conflicts, but particularly the aggression that Israel continues to show to its neighbors. Like, what is the end goal here for Israel? I mean, many would say that the map that Benjamin Netanyahu presented of the new Middle East at the United Nations, where Israel expands every fucking where, I guess it takes over all of the West Bank and Gaza and southern Lebanon and the Golan Heights and some other spots in Syria. And, we'll take a little bit of Jordan too while we at it. Like crazy shit. Like, dog, this ain't that. These people that surround your nation are not going for this shit in 2024. And Israel ultimately knows that. So I guess they figure they're just going to have to take it by force. And, if the United States stands with Israel at all costs, if the United States politicians and our foreign policy is totally beholden to AIPAC and the Israeli lobby, and rather the Zionist lobby, then Israel's like, well, fuck it. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me, boo? Nobody. Well, I was gonna say nobody checked Israel during the genocide, but again, big up to the Houthis. The Houthis said, nope, how about this blockade? Why don't you take this blockade right here in the Red Sea and don't shit get through here until Palestine is free. Here come Hezbollah, like, yo, we're gonna at least pop off. we gonna bust some shots in y'all's direction to let y'all know that this shit ain't cool and don't try that shit over here. But instead, there they go. There they go. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Well, I see the United States standing with Israel. Oh, and there's some other interesting reporting again that we're not going to get here in the US, but there have been talks between the Saudis and the Iranians allegedly. The foreign minister from Saudi Arabia allegedly has met with Iran's new president. And from what I understand, you guys, Iran's new president is very much with the shits. Iran's new president, they knew youngin because the former president tragically died in a helicopter crash, which I think some believe was under potentially nefarious circumstances. But I do not have the range for that, beloveds. But my point is, if Iran is letting Israel know that we are not scared of y'all motherfuckers, okay? Like, you got guns too. Listen to me quoting Raekwon. You got guns, we got guns too. Whether or not Iran has their nuclear weaponry capabilities ready, I think is inconsequential. What Israel has threatened to do is destroy their oil processes, their oil producing processes, their refining processes, and their nuclear research facilities. And Iran is like, if you do that, guess what we gonna do? United States, all that little oil that you enjoy coming from Iraq, Kuwait, motherfucking Bahrain, UAE, we are going to bomb all of that shit. And we don't even care if y'all come back and beat us. Guess what? We're going to fuck you up in terms of your oil extraction capabilities or your abilities to get fuel from that region and destabilize all of your allies. Do you want that drama? and the funny thing is, these may be questions for Joe fucking Biden before an election. All of this shit, you guys, here we are, early October. Who the fuck even cares who wins the election in November? Because that person is not going to be president until January. At the speed of which events are transpiring in the region, Joey B might be the one taking the United States into some kind of war. What does that even look like? Oh, and by the way, Russia is clawing back any lost territory gained by Ukraine. Oh, and China said in the South China Sea, if you keep this shit up, Taiwan is going to pay the price. Like, see, guys, this is how Rome fell. And I'm not even against Rome falling. What I am against is Rome being bombed. Why? Because I fucking live right outside of Rome. Jesus, I wish these motherfuckers would calm the fuck down and let cooler heads prevail, and more importantly, intercede. And the only country that can stop Israel is the United States. And this determination from the Biden White House, and again, doesn't even matter who the fuck wins in November, because Trump will double down on standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel. The United States has all the power here to de-escalate, right? But de-escalation through escalation is not a path to non-war. Okay, like that is not how peace is brought about. And I'm just very concerned. I'm concerned for all people involved. I'm concerned ongoingly for the Palestinians, the Lebanese, the Syrians, everyone in the region that has been affected by settler colonialism, basically, and the attempted expansion of such, that civilians are being harmed, targeted by the thousands. And it's genocidal, it's maniacal, it's criminal. And I just want everybody that is watching from here in the US, please raise your voice and tell all the folks, anyone that will listen, this is a bad way to go. And please try to bring people's attention to it. I don't think people quite understand the precariousness of our situation right now. And it's all at the behest of the United States mainstream media. They are downplaying how real shit is at the moment, and the very big part that the United States is playing in this, and moreover, how we ourselves could be targets. Period. And again, I say this very selfishly. Yes, this is coming from a self-preservationist perspective. Please let us all behave ourselves on the international stage, and let us really drive it home to our elected officials and those that are even seeking office right now. This is not a tenable foreign policy position to stand with Israel at all costs when Israel is the aggressor, when Israel is the one committing genocide, when Israel is the one violating the sovereignty of other nations' boundaries, when Israel is the one assassinating, committing political assassinations in other nations. And again, the United States didn't say shit about that because that's what the fuck this country does, right? Two birds of a fucking feather. So anyway, you guys, keep your eyes on the region. We want to stand in solidarity with the people of Lebanon, with the people of Palestine always. And if Iran wants to talk its shit and stand on business, we stand with that too. So, but don't aim over here. Please, and thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, this morning. It's Burning Down with Kim Brown. Thank you. I don't even know if people are finding us on the vertical stream this morning. People watch YouTube on Saturday mornings, I suppose. I guess the folks that did used to watch Saturday morning cartoons, you guys are grown up and watching the news now. So maybe you are up on a Saturday checking out, hopefully, one of your favorite YouTubers. That I hope is me. I hope that is me. Will, I saw some support being ran.
Yeah, we got a super chat. Thank you to Infinite Content.
Thank you, Infinite.
If you can't beat Hamas, how TF do you think you can beat Hezbollah? From Infinite.
Excellent question, Infinite Content. Thank you so much for your super chat. Yep, Hamas isn't beat. They don't appear to be beat. Now, has Palestine taken catastrophic beating? Absolutely. And it's awful. And it's very revelatory of, again, the nature of the Zionists. They don't value human life. They damn sure don't value Arab life, right? I'm almost waiting for the Arab Lives Matter movement to come out because it is tens of thousands of Arabs that are being slaughtered by non-Arabs, right? America just, chalks that shit up like, oh, 20,000, 40,000. Motherfuckers don't even flinch at those numbers. It's gross. It is flat out disgusting. So that's why we stand with the resistance, because dog, dog, if it was us, shit, we'd want some compassion and some humanity shown towards our situation at minimum, intercession and resistance at maximum, right? Like, come on. But thank you for that, Infinite Content. Absolutely. Gang, I'm going to keep this moving here.
I want to say, Kim, real quick, too. We got 61 people in the chat. Please, everybody, hit the like.
Thanks. That's what's up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate all your support. Thanks, you guys, for getting up with me. Big up to our folks who might be watching us from the West Coast as early as shit. It's six something in the morning. But I appreciate y'all joining us. So, in the aftermath of the cataclysmic flooding and damage from Hurricane Helene, former President Donald Trump has been touring the area, blaming the Biden White House and saying that Biden's been giving the migrants the FEMA money. Nigga, the FEMA money is in motherfucking Kyiv. It's in the Ukraine. The FEMA money is in goddamn Tel Aviv. When Netanyahu and Zelensky came here and got the bag and dipped. Don't say that the migrants took the fucking FEMA money, nigga. The fucking Department of Defense has the fucking FEMA money. But I bring up Trump because it is Trump who infamously called nations of the global south broadly, called them shithole countries. And I challenge that statement because America is actually the shithole country. As we see the United States government struggle to respond to a natural disaster of epic proportions, we are also seeing the government really fail to address in any meaningful way, and by extension, the media also kind of falling down on the job in reporting what was a man-made disaster happening in the Atlanta suburbs, in Conyers, Georgia, in Rockland County, Georgia, at the Biolabs chemical plant, where they manufacture pool supplies and bleach and spa supplies, chlorine-based products. The explosion there now just about a week ago, is actually causing some very significant health problems for the residents in and around the area. And these problems are not only contained to the Atlanta suburbs, because this ball of chlorine gas, which is not dissipated, is now moving around the area. And in fact, some of the effects are being smelled and felt as far as some neighboring states. And I want us to take a look. I thought this was not a bad package at all, coming from the Fox affiliate in Atlanta. Will, if we could get that queued on up, because guys, as we talk about, the way in which America is very clearly willing to overextend itself militarily, again, which we've seen lots of times, but now, trying to stand up with Israel and stand and prop up Ukraine and talk shit to China, the homeland is crumbling, and we don't have to worry about some sort of outside force or outside state attacking us. America's going to fall down for blowing its own self up. And the way that American corporations have been allowed to consistently poison and make sick people that live here, and they can do this usually with impunity. It's another example as to why this whole fucking thing needs to be burned down. But goddamn, it's gonna explode and then burn, right? But it could be stopped. So anyway, hold on. I want us to take a look at this this package coming out of Atlanta from the Fox affiliate, talking to people and to some experts about what Metro Atlanteans are experiencing with this chlorine gas cloud circulating in the sky. So let's take a look at that.
Atlanta emergency officials say that the wind is blowing those toxins in this direction. So Atlanta residents could start to see the haze and feel the effects of chlorine in the air starting tomorrow morning. Now, we spoke with a doctor who lives near that plant and says right now he is worried about how this exposure will impact people's health long term. It's been more than 3 days since a fire at a chemical plant in Conyers released billowing smoke and high levels of chlorine in the air. Since then, thousands of people across Metro Atlanta have reported seeing and feeling the symptoms of exposure: irritated eyes, skin, or difficulty breathing.
After they made that announcement, I could swear my chest felt a little bit tighter than normal. Now, that might have been psychological, I'm not certain, but I'm very sensitive to toxins.
Though the EPA and GEMA officials say the chemicals in the air are unlikely to harm most people, Dr. Cecil Bennett, a physician and Rockdale County resident, tells Fox 5 his concern now is how it will impact their health over time.
Chlorine gas is very toxic at high levels. I know I hear one thing today about the fact that we should not be concern, but the actual manifestations of this exposure may not be an issue until months from now.
That's why he says it's crucial for anyone feeling symptoms to seek a medical professional and keep a record of that visit.
Make sure you document and you see a provider and there's a file of what symptoms you had and exactly what took place, just in case there's a complication later and further medical attention is needed, and someone has to be responsible for that.
That's someone very likely from the company that started it all. In a statement from BioLab, a spokesperson said, quote, "We have continued to make progress in mitigating the situation at our facility, and we deeply regret the impact of the incident on our community. Our executive leadership team is on the ground and engaging directly with local representatives and stakeholders on how we can best provide support." Now, right now, a petition to get this plant shut down has already gained more than 5,500 signatures at this point. We do know the EPA and GEMA will be providing an update on this situation tomorrow. But for now, Rockdale County remains under a shelter-in-place order from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. until Friday. That's the latest here live in Atlanta. Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
All right, Joy, thanks. There are several precautions the Georgia Emergency Management Agency is encouraging people to take. Limit your outdoor activities and stay inside away from the smoke. Keep indoor air as clean as possible. The elderly, children, and people with compromised immune systems should stay inside. If you've got asthma or another lung disease, follow your doctor's respiratory management plan.
So earlier in the package, the reporter said that health officials said that these fumes, this chlorine gas in the air, shouldn't affect, quote, most people. And that line is doing a lot of fucking work there. It's doing a lot of work to dismiss disabled and chronically ill folks. They're talking about most healthy people. They're not talking about disabled folks by and large, right? And when we look at the population of Metro Atlanta, which I would imagine would include Conyers as well, we're talking about a population of about 6 million. Okay. And when we extrapolate, let me big words, we extrapolate the amount of disabled people in the population, let's say 1 in 5, let's say 20%, right? Let's be on the conservative side here. So 1 in 5 persons in this country are disabled. And a population of 6 million, that's about 1.5 million people. Okay. So here come the health officials saying, these conditions shouldn't impact most people, but 1.5 million of y'all, y'all might be fucked up. the 1.5 million of y'all might be fucked up. And look at the ease in which governments and those in charge are willing to dismiss and ignore and willing to sacrifice, I suppose, on some level, the actual lives of 20% of the population, right? Or the health condition or the quality of life for one. I mean, y'all, these are versions of the purge. Okay. This shit is real. Intentional or no, what is the consequence for BioLabs, which is a multi-million-dollar corporation owned by private equity, by the way, not a publicly traded company. So there's that. But I want us to take a look. I want us to hear directly from someone that has been impacted by this chlorine gas attack that happened in Conyers. Well, if you could cue up Status Quo, we want to shout out to Status Quo, big up to Jordan Sheraton. Got this great interview with this sister. I think her name is Tiffany. Apologies if I'm not saying her name. Give her right name. And Will, when you get a chance, can you drop the link to that Status Quo joint in the chat so the folks them can check it out? But listen to the symptoms that this woman is experiencing and her proximity to this BioLabs chlorine fire that's happened down there. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, so I learned about it.
It amazes me that it's 2024 and people.
Oh, wow. whoopsie.
On Sunday evening. I learned about it Monday morning through Twitter, of course, and just, obviously thought it was crazy, but it wasn't until Monday evening that I started experiencing symptoms. I do have a 2-year-old, and she happened to have a sinus infection this week. And at the time, I didn't know it was a sinus infection, so I thought I was catching whatever she had. Monday evening, I had what felt like a fever, but I wasn't running a high temperature. I had chills and body aches that were pretty severe. And again, I thought I was getting sick for my daughter. The next day, I actually found out she had a sinus infection, which isn't contagious or anything. So,
is that something common for her? Or?
No, it's uncommon for her. So that's something to note as well. But I was having the body aches and the chills, and then that was at about 5 p.m. At around 11, just completely went away. It was just the strangest thing. And so that prompted me to actually text my sister, who had earlier in the day told me she was going to take off of work because she wasn't feeling well. And I asked her, I was like, what are your symptoms? And I was telling her my symptoms, which were the feverish symptoms, along with, I also had a headache, nausea, and what felt like a stuffy nose without like the mucus. And she was like, I have the exact same symptoms. And so automatically a light bulb went off for me, and I was like, okay, we might be experiencing symptoms from the fire that we learned about earlier today.
And how far does she live from?
He lives about 30 away, in Lithonia. Mm-hmm.
So you guys don't live like down the block, 25 minutes away, a half hour away, yet you were still experiencing severe symptoms.
Exactly. And I do want to add that I do have asthma and an autoimmune disease. And so I know that I'm in like that vulnerable population that governments like to throw under the bus, basically, when situations like this happen. They're like, oh, if you are vulnerable, then you might experience some symptoms of whatever the issue is. So yeah, and my sister also has she's not diagnosed with asthma, but potentially has something like that. So that could also be a reason why she's reacting to the chemical haze as well. So yeah, Monday was my symptoms.
And your sister, you posted this on Twitter, but she went to the doctor, and pretty alarming. Sore throat, acute pharyngitis, periodic chest pain, and chlorine gas exposure.
Yes.
The doctor diagnosed her with. And if you add, let me full screen that. If you add what else they said, there is no specific antidote for chlorine inhalation. Avoid further exposure to the gas by leaving the contaminated area. Stay indoors. Flush eyes and mucous membranes if you are having current symptoms. Shower to remove chemicals on the skin. Remove exposed clothing. And albuterol inhaler may be helpful. Your symptoms have gotten worse as the week has gone on. You also, correct me if I'm wrong, had a bloody nose?
I did. Yesterday morning, I woke up, felt like my nose was stuffy, that like same sensation, blew my nose, and it was blood. There wasn't snot, it was blood in my tissue. So that's abnormal for me. That's never happened unless I have like an illness at the time. And so it just was very alarming. And last night I had what felt like a mild asthma attack. I have activity-induced asthma, and so when I have asthma attacks, it's typically because I'm like running super fast and hard. And honestly, I haven't had to use my inhaler in about 2 years. Like I felt like I had grown out of a lot of my asthma symptoms. But last night I felt that like same rattling in my chest that I used to feel when I would go for a run and didn't use my inhaler beforehand. So yeah, symptoms are clearly worsening for me. I guess just the length of exposure at this point has bothered my lungs and nasal passages and sinuses and everything else.
And also, I'm not a home improvement person, but you could close your windows, you can close your doors, but stuff comes into homes through attics, through chimneys, etc. You seem calm, but you seem relatively young. Your sister, I'm assuming, is young.
Yeah.
You got bloody noses. Her doctor's telling her she's got chlorine gas exposure. Your kid's sick. I assume this is a little scary for you.
It's terrifying, and I feel like maybe I'm at a place where I've kind of just like shut down a little bit because we've got absolutely no support from our government again, and we need our jobs to live and survive. And I can't just take off work and leave and evacuate in a way that I would love to do without the city like explicitly telling us to evacuate, because obviously then our jobs would be closed for the week or whatever. So I feel like I'm just at like I'm in between a rock and a hard place where I don't know what to do. And it scares me that in crises like this, I feel like many of us freeze because we aren't used to having crises like this. And I feel like recently there's just been one after the other, and a lot of us are just kind of like paralyzed in place and not sure what to do. And it's just ringing all types of alarm bells for me, just even with everything going on with the aftermath of the hurricane and just like our response to that. And just, I don't know that we as Americans are prepared for the crises that are coming, basically. And I don't know that we even have, it just feels like everything is intentional, and that like we are so reliant on our jobs, we are so reliant on these like comfortable lives that we live, that we're stuck when it comes to making major decisions about how to protect ourselves in situations like this. So again,
I would also add, I don't think most Americans are prepared or aware. I mean, there was just a football game last night at the Atlanta Stadium. Not that Amazon, which broadcasted the game, is a news outlet, but they didn't even mention that like there's a haze over the stadium in Atlanta because of this. There was a vice presidential debate. I don't recall them even mentioning this. Georgia is a swing state. I don't think either campaign has really said anything. So it's kind of just like, let's normalize the abnormal and act like a chemical bomb. And I don't think that's too dramatic because chlorine gas was a weapon in war. Let's just kind of go about our business and pretend it's not happening.
Yep. Very alarming what we're normalizing. And
yeah, thank you. Please go on over to Status Quo News and watch the entire interview. But again, extremely revealing in a number of ways. The symptoms that people are experiencing. I mean, that chlorine gas attacks your lungs. It attacks your respiratory system, your mucous membranes, your eyes. Like, I mean, every fucking thing. And there's a lot to consider here. You know, Georgia, obviously being a swing state, there's an election coming. There's a significant Black population in around Metro Atlanta. Is this going to impact people's ability to vote? And that, trust me, that is the least of my fucking concerns, to be honest. My primary concern is with the health and well-being of the folks. And again, here's capitalism for you again, tying by and large your ability to access healthcare to your ability to work. You are only deserving of care if you can produce for the economy. And people understand that if they stay home or don't work, a lot of people don't have the luxury of stay-at-home jobs or work from home jobs. They have to show up to work, right? And if they don't show up, then they don't get paid. If they don't get paid, they can't provide basic things for their families, right? And even for themselves. And if we had a country, if we had a system in which everybody had access to healthcare, you know, it doesn't make sense for people to brave these conditions, but maybe more people could brave the conditions. I don't even know what to say here. Like, I definitely feel as though our lack of universal healthcare in this country is going to exacerbate this man-made catastrophe that is hanging over the heads of people residing in Atlanta. And again, Will, if you could pop up that Prospect article for me, because when it comes to biolabs, I'm saying these corporations should be made to pay for poisoning people. And from what I understand, there is a lawyer, one of those, oh Jesus, personal injury lawyer that is already soliciting for folks that have been impacted or whose health has been impacted, soliciting for folks to contact the law firm because this has got civil suit written all over it. But the problem is there going to be any money? Will, can you drop this link in the chat also when you get an opportunity? I'm not going to read through it, but I want you guys to just know that it exists. It says a toxic explosion in private equity payments. Okay. So the company Biolabs is not a publicly traded company. It is, in fact, owned privately. And it says private equity payments pocketed or private equity payouts that have been pocketed by some of these private equity barons in this company and its parent companies, Biolabs. They have taken out $850 million, okay, from this company that is behind the massive chemical explosion in Georgia. And this is what these companies tend to do, right? They will fuck up the environment, they will cause tremendous public harm. And what they'll do is they will file bankruptcy and go out of business and say, oh, we can't pay out these civil class action suits because we don't have any money. Company is mysteriously out of money. Well, it's mysteriously out of money because all the motherfuckers who run the shit in private equity have thiefed all of the profits. $850 million so far. That's almost $1 billion. And you think they're about to leave some money in the company right now, knowing that, number one, the situation has not been rectified or fully resolved. In fact, I think the fire keeps igniting and being put out and reigniting. And there's still an ongoing threat to public safety, right? To the health of the community. So their potential financial liability is going to be massive. Oh, and a fun fact that you're gonna pick up in that prospect article, basically, the equivalent of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. I can't remember what it's called, like the Georgia Economic Assistance or whatever the fuck, right? One of those things. Oh, they just broke this company off with some tax subsidies. they either paid them or required them not to pay some taxes due or some taxes owed, but because they're a corporation and because they're a job creator, oh well, no, you don't have to pay the taxes. In fact, let the state pay you for poisoning the community. A whole clusterfuck. Please burn it all down to the floor and below. And we have to salt the earth after the shit burns down because the shit is so goddamn rotten. So that's the man-made catastrophe. Let's go to the natural catastrophe, where the folks in Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina, Northwestern South Carolina, Southwestern Virginia, a portion of this that has kind of been overlooked and omitted. But these folks are still dealing with the aftermath and the recovery from the floods from Hurricane Helene. Jesus, was it even a week ago? And it's been extremely revealing about the United States, the federal government's and even the state government's actual responses to increased damage and severity that these natural disasters cause. And this includes flooding, this includes hurricanes, this includes wildfires, this includes tornadoes and derecho storms. So I think a number of you have likely seen these clips, but I'm going to show them anyway because they are just very telling about the overt intimidation that bosses and managers wield over workers and employees about leaving work unauthorized. Even if it's in the preservation of life, people are reluctant to walk off a job unless their boss tells them it's okay. And that is heartbreaking as shit. It almost makes me a little emotional, like, wow. Because I think of just the ways that I have told jobs to fuck off and it wasn't in the preservation of life. You feel me? Like, so I can't imagine being posed with a life or death situation and not telling my boss to fuck all the way off. I'm leaving. But at this plastics plant in Eastern Tennessee, many workers did not feel as though they had that right to do that. And tragically, not all of them survived the floods that came to their workplace. So these are a couple of packages put together but told from two different workers' perspectives. I thought it was pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at those.
This is video Robert Jarvis took last Friday as water started to rise outside the Tennessee plastics factory where he worked.
Within like 3 minutes, it went from here to about here.
Despite the threat of flooding, Jarvis says his manager initially told employees they could not leave. He says it wasn't until the plant lost power and the water kept rising they were finally told to go home.
What were the conditions like? It was water was up about my waist, and everybody was in pure panic mode, not knowing what to do. We're looking for instructions on how to get out of here. We have no evacuation plan whatsoever.
6 of his co-workers are missing after a truck they were in tipped over in the raging floodwaters. 1 employee has been confirmed dead. Others say they survived for hours by clinging to these yellow spools manufactured at the factory until they were rescued, according to local reports.
Innocent people that shouldn't have died. I mean, these people were like my family. We worked together every day, and it was senseless.
In a statement, Impact Plastics said at no time were employees told that they would be fired if they left the facility.
The fact that the company has said that no one was told they couldn't leave.
That's a lie. That's a lie. They just left us to die.
We were all talking to the supervisors and telling everybody, look, we don't need to be here. It's, saying we need to flee the areas. And they never said anything about letting us go.
Atkins says while she was never personally told not to leave, as a temporary employee, she didn't feel she could abandon her job. By noon, with no power and floodwaters nearly 5 feet high in the parking lot, Atkins says employees were finally told they could go home. But she says by then, it was too late.
If it would have been any deeper, I wouldn't have been able to walk through it. It was up almost underneath my shoulders when I got through the parking lot.
Not everyone made it out. Atkins says 3 employees have been found deceased and 3 more are still missing, including Rosa Reynoso, whose husband is among a group who holds up photos of their loved ones at every news conference.
I worked with little Rosa every day. She was so sweet. And she don't need to be missing. Her family don't need to be going through none of this. If they would have just said go or y'all don't need to work today, they knew there was a chance. We worked right next to the river. None of this would be happening. None of the families would be going through what they're dealing with.
In a statement to News Channel 11, which can be read in its entirety on our website, Impact Plastics senior management says employees were dismissed by management to return to their homes in time for them to escape the industrial park and offered sympathy for the missing and deceased employees.
Impact has not tried to contact me in no way, shape, form, so I don't believe that they have any heartfelt sympathies.
Atkins says it's been a rough few days and nights.
Not sleeping. When I do sleep, I dream of being in the water, feeling that maybe if I could have stayed, maybe I could have done something more. But at the same time, I'm thankful to God that I'm here.
I am feeling multiple emotions. I am heartbroken for the people that got swept away, that lost their lives because they did not feel as though they could leave the job. And I'm heartbroken for, those that are probably feeling tremendous amounts of survivor's guilt. But I wonder if any of the bosses feeling guilty. I wonder if the owner of Impact Plastics feels guilty. Ultimately, there is something there about the culture of that workplace that, again, folks did not feel as though they could leave and still keep their jobs, right? And this is where I'm a little split, because at some point in yourself as a human, as a sentient thinking person, hey baby, life is full of hard choices. You know what I'm saying? You can and should tell the boss and that job to fuck off. The flood is coming. The waters are rising. Fuck off. I have to leave. And I think also Americans generally, I don't think we have a good sense of danger, right? I think we are becoming more maybe hyper sensitive and acutely aware to the potential of gun violence in public places, which again is not an unfounded feeling because the shit could kick off any fucking where in this country, school, church, public festival, concert, right? Like where has not been shot up in America, right? So that's not unfounded. But when it comes to the natural disaster threat, I don't think we perceive that as acutely as we should. And I'm devastated that those folks literally gave their lives for capitalism. And this is something that we all should know and should tell our people. If you work for a corporation, they do not value your life or your health or your safety, especially if you work in a manual position, if you work on your feet, if you work with your hands, if you run a machine, if you get paid an hourly wage, even if it's a good hourly wage, right? But especially if it's a bad hourly wage, your corporation does not give a fuck about you. They sent people out here in COVID, okay, at the height of the pandemic. They refuse to let people go home or make people feel as though they don't have the right to both go home in a natural disaster and keep their job. We cannot give our whole lives for capitalism. I don't subscribe or recommend or suggest we give our entire actual life to capitalism, as in retire at 72 after you've been working since you were 15. I disagree wholly with the system that we should donate our entire adult able-bodied lives, if we have it, to capitalism, right? And also when it comes to a disaster, a life or death situation, you have to choose yourself over that job. You will find another job. And again, this is not here to ascribe blame to anybody, and I feel even guilty even having said what I said. But I'm thinking about the lady, Luna Rosa, who the white woman there was, obviously very upset about her passing. I'm guessing that she was an undocumented woman or a migrant woman, right? Like the lack of rights she must have felt that she did not have to leave, because she needed that job. Her family needed that job. But that's the thing, you guys. Our lives, our relationships with the people that mean and matter to us is far more valuable than a job. Luna Rosa's family valued her more than that job. And that is what we have to communicate to people that maybe feel powerless or invisible or without voice or autonomy in this system. Like, nope, you are more valuable than this fucking job. You are more valuable to your folks than a paycheck that you would bring home. And again, what kind of job? A job that was not, even if she survived, a job that's not going to provide. You heard the white lady right there. The company ain't reached out. Have they offered any grief counseling or even any kind of services to the folks that had to experience that? Likely not. And it's likely not coming. So we should not value what we bring to the company more than what the fuck the company brings to us. And please communicate that to working people. To communicate that to yourself if you need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Don't give all your life to this job, even if you got, quote, a good job. You better take all that goddamn vacation. You better take all of that paid time off. I don't give a fuck if you're not sick. Take a mental health day. Use all of that shit. Because you are owed that and way more. What American capitalism specifically extracts from people that live in this country, I think is, I won't say unique, because I think some of the Asian countries be extracting the fuck. Our Korean and Japanese brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? They unalive themselves at tremendous rates because of work stress, right? But in America, well, we do have an unaliving rate that is, not well known or well disseminated. But for those that do not unalive themselves under capitalism here in this country, they usually drop dead. They usually just die. They usually die early deaths. Crazy shit. Anyway, don't give your life to capitalism, baby, because capitalism is not worth it. And capitalism is never going to value you in the same way that you value your job, which is why you should not value your fucking job. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it here. I know I did have another story, but brother Will, are you hard out here? Is now a good stopping point, or do I have time? Because if I don't have time, that's okay. I can hold that shit till Tuesday. Will was very gracious in doing this
How much more
broadcast.
time you think you need?
I'd say it's a solid 20. I'd say a solid 20 minutos. But if if you don't got 20 minutos, that's no problem.
20. If you could do it in 20, yeah, that's fine. I got you.
Word up. That's some real nigga shit right there. Okay. That's some real nigga shit. Real nigga out here. That's what I'm talking about.
Hold up, like and subscribe. All right, I'm done.
Thank you. Yes, guys, don't forget to do those things. Hey, if you want to run us some material support, we accept it. Always. Cash App, $ BIDWKB, Venmo, BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, and of course, Patreon.com/BIDWKB. And you can always become a channel member here on YouTube. We appreciate all the support, even the free support, especially the free support. So shout out to, I don't even know if my mods is in here. What's up, mods? Y'all awake? Y'all woke? I'm sorry to wake y'all up for work on a Saturday. Ay, my bad. Shout out to Courtney, Latif, Anna Hart, Learn Life, Abby, what's up? Donnie, Afraid Not. What's up, Chuck Diesel? I don't even know Chuck Diesel's in here. What's up to my son Tyler? All the moderators that we have working here for us on BIDWKB. So, guys, it's kind of been with some intention that I have not dug or dove deep at all into the many allegations lobbed at a lot of powerful Black entertainment folks by Jaguar Wright. Okay. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown, Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern. Like, share, subscribe for me, please. It is not because I disbelieve Jaguar Wright. It is not because it's not really because of anything. The only reason I do not post clips and go into Jaguar Wright's allegations is because it's a little messy. It's a little messy for what I would care to deal with, but not mess as in I take it to be false. Mess is in the sense that it is a lot to unpack and go through. And at the moment, a lot of the things that she has alleged are not able to be substantiated. However, she was very much on point talking about Diddy and sex trafficking. She has made this allegation going back a few years. And she made an appearance on Piers Morgan's show some days ago. The interview has already garnered millions of views. And I don't know how to feel about it. Again, I believe what Jaguar is saying because motherfuckers be dirtballs, okay, for a very long time in the entertainment industry in particular, but not exclusively relegated to the Black side of the entertainment as a whole, the whites too. Terrible people, freakazoids, big time freakazoids, right? And compelling others to be freakazoids, right? I don't disbelieve any of that. But what I'm not sure I'm glad about is her being platformed by Piers Morgan, because it gives sort of a strange legitimacy to things that I think have already been legitimized, right? And honestly, I do not like white folks in our business. I do not like the whites in our business. I do not like white folks being privy to shit that Black people have been discussing for a very, very long time, because then it takes it to another level, and a level that I'm not sure is a good thing. But I wanted to take a look at some of the clips, and we're going to be brief here with what Jaguar said on Piers Morgan, because when white folks start paying attention, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that shit's about to get really amplified and accelerated? And by the way, are we sure Pierce Morgan himself wasn't at the freak offs? I'm not. I'm not convinced. But anyway, so where are we starting here? Let me hold on. Let me pull up the doc because I wanted to go to a certain amount of spots. I'm also concerned that we're going to get hit with a bunch of commercials on this shit. Because Pierce Morgan said we got a heater over here. We got some heat over here. So let's start with that first clip that I got pulled up. Did I put the time codes on here? I did. Okay, so she makes several points about the industry and about people trying to discredit the shit that she has been saying. For y'all that don't know, Jaguar Wright has again said a lot of things. She's alleged that people abused Justin Bieber when he was a young boy, when he was a boy, basically coming into the industry. She's name dropped the likes of not only Diddy, but Jay-Z has been the target of her ire. Usher, Common. She says, a lot of people are complicit. Everyone who's anybody in Hollywood, even the Watts, are complicit. She name drops Clive Davis, the head of Universal Music Group, Lucian Grange. I mean, she goes there. So Jaguar is clearly trying to set shit on fire. But for those that say that she doesn't really know or she wasn't there, how the fuck would she know? She ain't been popping in some time. When is Jaguar last been hot? Who was inviting her to the parties? This is the explanation that she gives when asked about how do you know this stuff? Go ahead, Jag.
About to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases.
Your child needs these three key factors.
There we go. I told y'all we are not ad free over here on YouTube, unfortunately.
Dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically. And Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far. It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely
Hold up, pause that real quick,
avoided
Will.
the same scrutiny.
So let me say this real quick in response to something that Jaguar said in terms of her being a sex worker and understanding the intertwining between entertainment and power. And she didn't say politics, but we could absolutely throw politics in there between entertainment, politics, and the sex worker world and the sex worker industry. Sex workers provide a service. They usually provide a paid service. So they are viewed as the help in a lot of ways. You know, they could be the featured performer or, you know, amongst a cast of featured performers, but ultimately they are the help. And the way that powerful people with money will behave and the things that they will call on them to do, the sex workers pay them to do, it is debauchery that I think goes beyond what Diddy's attorneys claims are just threesomes, right? Or even beyond, I guess, what a routine orgy may be, if an orgy is ever routine, right? Whatever. No, this is not that. This is not just people being kinky. This is intentional drugging, as she said, rituals. There's been a number of accusers, or at least two that I can think of, who claim that underage folks were available at these parties as like appetizers, like they were available for the selection of whoever the party attendees were to do nasty bad things, right? That's the debaucherous part. That's the nasty hedonistic part about some of the stuff that she's describing. But it's also the fact that the likes of Diddy, she alleges Jay-Z, you know, Clive Davis, etc. The fact that these people are lauded as icons and idols is what I'm hoping that her intention here is to correct for public perception, right? We want accountability for the victims, right? Whatever justice may look like for the victims, but we need to expose the people that have been held up for our adoration. And are these the kind of motherfuckers that we want to adore or emulate? I say not. But she's about to say something here that I went, I said, oh no. But anyway, go ahead, Will. Keep playing.
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which it fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
Guess they on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think that the world is going to be shocked
Pause it
by?
right there, Will, real quick. So this was a little tough for me to hear, and I have to be careful to keep my own personal fandom in check. I am a big fan of Dream Hampton. She is a writer. She is a documentarian. She is an organizer, activist. And she is also a longtime friend of Jay-Z. Her and Jay-Z met in the 90s when she wrote a review of Reasonable Doubt, I believe, in the Village Voice. And they have been friends. I think they do have a legitimate friendship. They've been friends ever since. And she either ghost wrote or co-wrote his biography. It was called Decoded or Undecoded, some shit. I don't know. And I know they have collaborated on a number of projects. Now, to the extent that Jay-Z financed the Surviving R. Kelly documentary series that aired a couple of years ago, that I'm not sure. I could look into that and see if that's true. At the same time, the way that the world is, guys, and I'm not trying to justify it or anything like that. Do I think that Dream Hampton is fucking signing off on freak offs and niggas being exploited? I doubt it. I'm sorry. She just doesn't strike me as that kind of person. However, can you be an advocate against sexual abuse, sexual violence, sexual exploitation, create a really informative series about a particularly powerful person in the entertainment industry who abused and harmed lots of girls and women, and yourself be friends with a person who could have done maybe similar things to varying extents in the industry? I say it is very possible, because yes, she did a documentary exposing R. Kelly as a dirtbag, and she herself, yes, could be friends with a dirtbag for a number of reasons. Firstly, being the prevalence of dirtbags in the goddamn industry, in the world at large, but in the entertainment industry, oh yes, replete with dirtbags. You could absolutely be cool with a man for years, long time, and this motherfucker will have never done anything to you, anything untoward to you, potentially maybe have never done anything untoward around you, because that person values and respects you that much, right? That they would never, that male would never want to show that side to a woman that he held in some esteem or some respect, okay? But when them niggas is with the other dirtbags, oh shit. I was disappointed to hear Jaguar call out Dream Hampton in that way, and I hope it's not the case. but to her point, to Jaguar's point about the lack of people calling out the intersection of R. Kelly and Jay-Z, when the project titled The Best of Both Worlds was released in 2002, I was still working in radio, and I remember how aghast I was. Like, I was like, wow, like Jay-Z is really making records and going on tour with R. Kelly. And this was, again, at a point in which R. Kelly's child sex material videos had been widely circulated, widely distributed. I tell y'all that I saw the shit because I did see the shit. Okay. This is my homegirl got it from the fucking beauty salon or the fucking barber shop. And we was 19. We were R. Kelly fans. When R. Kelly did the interview on BET and said that that's not him in the video, that's his brother, and all of a sudden the video was everywhere, we was like, well, let's see the video and see if that's him or his brother. and guess who it was? It was absolutely that nigga. And by the way, can I tell you, that was a life lesson learned for me, having viewed that shit, because you cannot unsee some things. You should not expose your eyeballs and your brains to all things visual or video. If there's a viral video of some horrendous thing happening, think twice and think again about whether or not I want to see this, because I don't know if I'll ever be able to unsee it. I will never be able to unsee what I saw as it pertained to R. Kelly and his child sex materials. It was terrible, and it was definitely that nigga, okay? And if I seen the shit at fucking 19 living in Howard County, Maryland, you better believe Jay-Z saw that shit. And everyone in the fucking industry saw that shit. And them niggas did not treat R. Kelly no different. He was still getting played on the radio. His records, his tours still selling out. The biggest rapper in the game was collaborating with him on not one but 2 albums. And people didn't shrug. I remember just being so baffled, like asking, dog. I know them niggas hated me. The program directors, the music directors, because I would be the one asking questions. But it didn't fucking matter. The radio station, the corporation had a relationship with the label, okay? R. Kelly makes money. R. Kelly drives business. That's why they didn't give a fuck about what that nigga was doing terribly. Anyway, well, let's get that last clip in. I think it's starting at 2 minutes, something or other, because this is where I wanted to show y'all that Dream, the Dreams, as I said, Dream, my God, Dream and Jaguar, what amazing names, right? Jaguar Wright is here to burn the shit down. I can't see where she is capitalizing monetarily in any way beyond whatever she may be earning off YouTube or Instagram or whatever. At no point has she ever, that I've heard publicly, demanded money or anything like that. She genuinely seems to be trying to do this exposure for the victims of these folks and for the broader public exposure. So let's look at this last clip, and I'm gonna turn you loose here.
Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane.
Back that up, maybe like 20 seconds, Will.
Unconscious. There's a testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to
be fearless.
Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately.
No, back that up. I'm sorry, Will. Do I have it at 2 minutes something? What's the time code? I'm sorry. Because it was like 2 minutes something. So anyway, in the clip, in the interview, you should go and watch the whole thing. But she mentions, again, by name, Clive Davis. She mentions again by name Jay-Z, and does mention Beyonce there as well. And also mentions again Lucian Grange, who was named in Little Rod's lawsuit, the producer who sued Puffy civilly, but also named a lot of higher ups in the record biz, including Lucian Grange, who himself has connections to Zionism and funds. He and his family are funders of Israeli projects. Do you have it? Go ahead and hit it if we got it.
No, I was gonna say so it's either 1250 or 1350. It's no 250 on.
Oh, maybe I didn't type it correct, which is totally possible. It's cool. I think we got the point. We got the point. When Jaguar starts dropping giant names like that, you understand she is trying to not only shake shit up, she is trying to burn it the fuck down. And I hope it's one of the many institutions that will continue to crumble from the inside, because it's so rotten, right? Like our government, like the systems of capitalism. Like this is an offshoot of capitalism. Obviously, it's an arm. And one thing that she says, and I'll let everybody go here. One thing she says, she is just a phrase during this interview. She said, "Cruelty-free artistry," which I thought really says a lot. For people to want to, quote, make it in the biz, there is a lot of degradation potentially that you could face, right? People wanted to exploit not only your talent, but your labor, but even exploit you sexually, right? For the ability to move up or to get certain resources or to get better promotion or to get a job or to get a variety of things. Like it's kind of this understanding, unspoken, but it's understood that if you want to be in the entertainment game, you want to be a artist, you want to be a personality or whatever, there are certain exchanges depending on how high you want to go and the circles that you are able to move in and the doors that can open for you. And it shouldn't be that way, right? like sports, entertainment should be a meritocracy, right? The best people should be able to be featured and flourished, but that's not usually what happens. The people who are willing to play the game and the people who are willing to grab the ankles, as I like to say, grab ankles, are the ones that get advanced, or the ones that have been coerced or and recorded and exploited. Like, it's all bad. It's all bad. And Jaguar, as a Black woman, has been the one to light that match, right? She is like the kindling of the fire that is running through the entertainment business. And the fact that it has already got someone as big as Puffy is pretty amazing. But I don't think he's going to be the last one to go here. So it's going to be real interesting, as it is in the world with every fucking thing else, what the next couple of months are going to bring. What is the rest of 2024 have in store for us? Guys, I think we are still on the roller coaster as it is going up. We have not even hit the peak yet, because the shit gets crazier and crazier with every passing week. So we can just stay tuned. But I want to say salute to Jaguar, right? I appreciate a Black woman truth teller and a person that's out here trying to bring actual predators down. We salute. But also, can't wait to see the politicians and the executives. I don't want to just see celebrity freak offs. I want to know what elected officials was in the building. Was Eric Adams in the building? Was Eric? Yes, I'm sure he was. In my opinion, Eric Adams was a definite candidate to be part of the freak offs. So what are the powerful people? Fuck the celebrities. Who are the politicians and the other powerful folks that hopefully will be implicated and brought down in all of this? So salute to Jaguar. Drop them names too, Jag. Don't just drop the celebrities, but be careful though. Oh, be careful. Guys, that's the show. Thank you all so much. Oh, fuck. I forgot to play that other joint. Will, do you have the Ray J joint real quick?
Yep.
No, fuck it. I'm gonna let you go. No. Y'all gotta hear this. And Will can play the Ray J joint. Y'all, hold on. I fucked up. I wrapped up too quick. Ray J, just play the shit. Play the shit. Y'all see.
Hey, yo, Jaguar Right. I told you I had an opportunity for you. I told you I had bags for you. I'm trying to hear what you got to say. But you want to keep taking these other niggas, not showing love to the community? That shit weak as fuck. Hit me right now so I can make sure you get a bag and I can understand what the fuck you talking about, so we'll know what's the truth and what's not. That shit janky as fuck. You ain't hitting me back, but you hitting all these other motherfuckers back. That's from all these other countries. Like you safe over there. You safe with me. Stop acting scary. Jaguar, hit me back right the fuck now whenever you can. With all due respect, and I love you, and I'm sorry for cursing. Help me be a better person. Call me back.
Now, y'all know Ray J is the agent. Y'all know Ray J is the op, the fucking operative, the double O African, as it were. Y'all know Ray J is out here trying to set Jaguar up for harm, in my opinion. Don't go meet with no goddamn Ray J. Look what happened to Whitney Houston when she met up with Ray J. It was all bad. Ray J gonna put polonium in your tea, baby girl. But Jaguar from North Philly, she got way more fucking sense than that shit. I ain't worried about Jaguar meeting up with no fucking Ray J. But you see how they trying to bring her out. Yo, I got bags for you. Ooh, where you get bags from, Ray J? Who is funding your bag gifting to Jaguar potentially? Right. All of that screams setup, don't it, everybody? We ain't no goddamn fools out here. And Jaguar Wright does not strike me as a fool neither. But Ray J absolutely strikes me as an op. Ray J is the op, baby. He is the enemy. Do not show up for that meeting, baby. There will be polonium 24 in the tea. And if you don't know what the polonium is, look that shit up. That's how cruddy niggas get down. So anyway, I had to thank you for reminding myself that y'all needed to see that part of it also. Now I'm gone. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Please go on over to Black Liberation Media at 11 a.m. for Saturdays with Renee. Thank you so much to Will and Malay for facilitating this Saturday morning. Burn It Down with Kim Brown. And you guys like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. We love you guys. Thank you all so much. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend, y'all. Deuces.